Hey guys, we're live. I think that's gonna work. You can see mostly the painting. That's great. Okay, welcome back. Here we are again with this beast of a painting. So we're gonna attempt to continue this, and I actually worked on it this weekend. Oh no, Monday night actually. I think it was Monday night when I don't normally paint. I was like, I want to paint. And I did a lot of this stuff up here to fill that in a little bit more, if you can kind of see. And I think today I might work down here. We'll kind of see how it goes. So I might kind of point you down a little more so you can see the bottom of the canvas. And we'll kind of go from there. Let me pull up my picture here though. There it is. Okay. We don't need to see that whole window. Okay, there we go. So let's see here. Making everything a little smaller. And if you have questions or comments, or if you're working on anything this evening that you want to share or talk about, like, please do so in the comments. All right, but let's get started here. Sorry, I got too many wires happening. There we go. All right, so we're going to work down here. I'm going to put you down just a little more so that you can see that more in the center. I got my tea. Can't paint without tea. All right. This is tough. Because I think I want to start with sort of a peachy, because it's all like in the light. Get my handy dandy orange out here, which looks, it's like pretty much the same orange I used in the background, but I added yellow and white, I believe. So we got that. We've got oh, come on. There we go. White. That, and I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of this magenta color, deep magenta, and violet. Because I think I'm going to need a little bit of both. Actually, I should unscrew it like this and get it out. Okay, that's probably good enough for now. And the handy dandy purple. And we might as well get some yellow out because yellow is my go-to for warming things up most of the time. And this is a very warm and friendly piece. So we're going to attempt this. With a little yellow. So you can see my beautiful palette here. And hopefully the wet, shiny ones that you can see are the ones I'm using. Probably hard to tell, but there you go. All right, then I'm going to wet my brush. I'm going to hope and pray that I don't get any on the carpet. I tend to be a pretty cleanly painter. And so that means like I don't like getting paint all over my hands and on my clothes and on things. And so I should be able to keep this clean, but we'll see. All right, so I it's a tricky coloring here. So I think I'm going to start with a base color that's kind of going to be showing up everywhere. So I'm mixing my white with my sort of yellow orange and my red orange together to get sort of a pinky color. Then it's obviously not that pink, so I'm going to add some purple to that. Ooh, actually, yeah. It's actually not bad, but it needs to be lighter. Okay, that's not bad. So there's like this stone wall in here, and I want to just put in, I don't know, some little blobs. And actually, this is where it gets a little confusing. I didn't actually paint it this way. The trees are behind this wall. And so this wall should actually, at least on this tree, kind of cover it up there. And then it kind of reappears over here. There's a nice shadow that comes through here. I'm definitely putting that in. But let's just put down this color in a few spots. And here a little bit. Now it's not like only this color, but I'm gonna just put in a few spots where I see that rock kind of showing through, rock wall. Then, oh, hopefully you guys can hear me. Oh yay, we got people watching. Thanks guys for tuning in. Just working on this beast of a painting. If you have comments or questions or anything, you can put those in the chat. All right, I'm gonna put down this guy is a little bit over here. I've got some lines that I sketched out originally down below, but I'll have to make sure that those are actually correct. Okay. It's not horrible. It helps that my background is so warm. Oh, and actually I want to go into some white. So I'm taking whatever's on my brush and I'm going to now come in here and on top of these ones put in a brighter, actually I might want to warm it up just a touch. So a little yellow with that and put that in there. Because between the rocks is, which I wonder if I should be putting that in. I could put that in later. Painterly style. This isn't a very large wall here. Okay. Sure. So they get darker though, so I'm not going to worry about that spot too much. This over here, I want to keep this warm and bright. Okay. And same thing goes for over here. Well, hopefully you guys can see. Hopefully my head's not like blocking the way. This is going to be brighter. Oh, and then these in here that are peeking through the wall down in there is kind of bright. Pretty much all the way across here. There's some little shadowy parts, but we're not gonna put those in yet. Okay. Kind of dull down some of that. And then I think I'm going to go in with a darker color right now and go between and put a little bit of definition between the rocks. Okay, so then I want to go for more of a purple. I don't think it has to be super dark, so if I come in here, give this a shot and just kind of hint at, between the rocks. Is that gonna be enough information? That's honestly what I love about Impressionism, is you're just playing with the mind a little bit and making it look believable, making it look like something. So as long as you can, it doesn't have to look like the photo, as long as it looks and reads as believable for what you're trying to make it look like. Again, I'm squinting like crazy to get the placement and the overall sort of look of this wall in here accurately. Then it gets a little bit shadowy. I'm hoping just this purple is going to be enough. It may not be, but over in here we've got the rock wall. It gets really dark. I don't really know. Oh. I have to go a little higher with that. And this will come across here. I think I do want a little bit of blue. Ultramarine blue? Yeah, sure. Yeah, actually, we don't want it to be green at all. So this will be perfect. Put a little bit of this down. Oh, okay. Or a lot. Sure, fine. Add a little bit of that to the darker color that I'm making here. And actually, that's like perfect. Yeah, it's a little bit more blue. That's all we wanted. Just a little bit more shadowy color. I'm gonna have that kind of come this way. Okay, then that comes down to where the crease in the wall is, which will be about here. There's like a little bit of shading or shadowy, like right in here. That's kind of interesting. Okay, and I'll make that pop a little more. All right, then that shadow. Let me see, am I looking at the whole thing? We're gonna have to make it up a little bit, but the shadow, ignore these lines. Those were from another underpainting that I did for a different painting that I was gonna do on this canvas. Decided not to. But we're gonna put in, I'm gonna mark it with something a little bit lighter. So this comes over this way. There's this shadow. Oh, a little too perpendicular. More horizontal. There we go. That. And this is where it's a little tricky. The curb. We're going to take the curb over to here and drop it down. Okay, so it's important with things like this, like the sidewalk being so flat, to get the perspective right. I'm starting with sort of that color there. And then if that's the curb, and I might just kind of mark where that's going to be, the curb here gets kind of dark. And that transitions up into here a little bit. Need a little water. Again, painterly style. I have to remind myself. Because I can easily get caught up in like realism, but I don't want to, and it's boring. I don't want to make it look real. Well, I mean, I do to an extent, but let's see. This comes across here. This whole curb is darker. Can you guys see me, by the way? See what I'm doing down here? Okay, I just kind of lost where you went. Okay. And then and the curve, I think I'm a little low. I think it needs to be like there. And you got just some like interesting shadows up in here. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. It's there. Let's see if I can make it darker now without ruining it. And that gets kind of skinny. And then it gets thicker as it goes over the edge. The trick with shadows. And then that's also going to continue this way. And some of it we can't see, but we're going to kind of imagine. And then this is scary. I think the curve is here. And then this comes this way. We have a curve section here. This just needs to come further down, I think. And this has a little bit more shadow on the edge there. Kind of like that. I don't know if this gets darker right at the crease and at the top of this, possibly. It's a little hard to tell from the photo. We'll work with it. Okay. Okay, we got enough information for now. Let's continue the top of that sidewalk. That will help me with the perspective. Okay, so let's get the peachy color we had before. Let's see, is this the right color? New. Needs to be a little bit more pink, a little more white, more yellow. I don't know if this is going to be it. Oh, Sydney, you're watching. Yay. Hi. Thank you. I'm glad you could tune in. Okay. I don't need to block everything in. Did you see that? I was like starting to like actually cover what I was meaning to keep kind of painterly. It's tricky, people. It is really, really tricky. Oops, I got some on my pants. It's really tricky to keep the intention of the sort of painterly look without getting carried away. Okay. And this gets a little bit more. We'll kind of cover that a little bit. This little section gets really light and yellow. And like right there. And then there's a little bit more of a warmer. Oh. This can go here. I think this is the little warm spot on the. Gosh, I don't know. Let's see. And that continues this way. So I think this is that. It's not the right color though. Let's see. Let's put that down in here. And it's not very thick, obviously, because I designated that to be here. And we're going to just plop down that color. And it's not going to be really noticeable with color because I'm putting it on top of this already orange base. But we're just going to get the basic coat down. Oh man, this is very tricky to see where the sidewalk is. It does get thinner because of perspective, so we're talking like that, I think. And this is all sidewalk. I can leave some of that underpainting to just be the sidewalk. Okay, something like that. Oh, it's kind of sloping up though, isn't it? That can't happen. That really shouldn't happen. You see that? This looks okay. And then I like slope up. So I think it needs to, which I'm afraid that the wall, I might have to fix that a little bit. But let's try this. Having trouble making the same color. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is gonna go over, and it needs to stay more flat, like down to there, I think. That look better? That looks better. Now the wall definitely is not in the right place. We're gonna have to take some of this lighter color, and we're gonna plop it down. So I had this funny dream last night where I was at some sort of event or something where there's lots of round tables, like in this gymnasium or something like that. And I don't know what was happening, but um, an event that probably wouldn't happen right now during COVID. So maybe I really want to go to an event. And basically what happened was I was preoccupied with something and couldn't be at the table. And each table was basically making their own homemade waffles. So they had the little waffle maker and they had the batter and they had all the toppings and everything. And so when I got to my table after, I don't know what I was doing again, I was just off. I was a little late or something. And I got to my table and everyone at my table, for the most part, had eaten their waffles. And they were kind of just hanging out. And I was like, okay, I want to make my waffle. And so they're like, oh yeah, there's batter left, you can make a waffle. So I put my the batter in the waffle maker, and I put the top down and I sort of wait, and before I know it, I look over and there's there's some kid at the table, I don't know, maybe 12-year-old kid, and he just like takes my waffle. He opens the thing, puts it on his plate, puts syrup on it, and just starts eating it. And I'm like, okay, he must not have realized that it was mine, so I kind of just like didn't say anything, brushed it off, whatever. And I gave him, or then he, no, sorry, then I tried to make another waffle. So I put another waffle batter in there and put the lid on, got talking with people, and before I knew it, I looked over and the same kid had taken my waffle out of the waffle maker. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I'm like, I gotta make more waffles. This kid just keeps eating my waffles. And what I did was then I think he realized that it was like my waffle at that point. He felt horrible. But the problem was I couldn't make more waffles because I think it was my mom was at the table. She had thrown the leftover batter away because it wasn't, it was just like a little bit left. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even get a waffle. So I woke up so mad because I didn't get a waffle and I wanted a waffle so bad. It was the worst feel. Like I was so irritated. I couldn't tell you how irritated I was in my dream. That feeling of like I didn't get what I wanted. So anyway, that was my dream. So if you can interpret it for me, that'd be great. I have no idea what that was about, but I definitely woke up craving waffles, wanting waffles, and angry that I didn't get any waffles. So there you go. And the kid felt awful. Like it wasn't like his fault. He was just kind of like talking there, and it was like, oh, there's a waffle, and he ate it. Oh, there's another waffle. I'll just eat it. And he didn't realize that I was the one making them for myself because I was missing out. He had eaten waffles already, so I was definitely a little bit mad, but tried not to be too mad at him. Okay, I think this is looking better. Light right there. If you're just tuning in, you missed my waffle story, my dream about waffles. So you'll have to go back in time and watch it and listen to my waffle story. I'm not going to share it again. uh, I didn't actually end up making waffles for myself today. I did wake up thinking I have to have a waffle, and it didn't happen, but that's okay. Maybe tomorrow. uh, okay, so I've got and actually the coloring is not bad. I'm going to put a little bit of roughness on there. Keep the variety, keep the texture a little bit interesting here. All right, then the edge of the sidewalk, which let me get just a step back here. The edge of the sidewalk is supposed to be kind of a yellow color, but it's very faded. Actually, it's a little bit on the pinky side, so we're going to start with that because the highlights will be more white. So we're going to start with the base that we need. And it's definitely a little more pinky than that. Okay. There's that and that. A little bit over here. Hinting at the fact that this is still even though it's in shadow, and this is going to go this way. I'm just using acrylic for this piece. I kind of, after being pregnant, once I found out I was pregnant last year, I decided to take a break from oil just because I was a little afraid of the chemicals and things. I didn't want to expose myself / baby to anything unnecessarily. So I took a break from oil. And since then, I've sort of taken on the challenge of, because I love oil, I really do. And even though it's a little bit more of a hassle to get out and use, I was like, I want to try my hardest to use acrylic as if it's oil. So try as hard as I can to get the colors and the textures. Obviously, you can't do it completely, but I was like, I just want to try making paintings that I'm happy with that remind me of oil, that I can kind of work up to feeling and looking more like oil. So that's kind of been my goal. And I've just, even though I'm not pregnant anymore, I'm like, oh, I still love acrylic. It's easy clean up and easy to pick up. It's not stinky. It's not, dries pretty fast. So I'm having a hard time going back to oil because acrylic has been fun. So I'm sure once I pick it up again, I'll be like, I love this. But for now, I'm sticking with acrylic because I really, really enjoy it. I can easily jump from painting the background orange, which is what I've done for this painting and many others, to painting on top of the orange because it dries so fast in acrylic. So that's something I've been feeling spoiled by for sure. Oh, today I went with my mom and sisters to evergreen area and walked around and had lunch and stuff. And we went into a few galleries. It's always inspiring to see the art that other people are making. And there was definitely some really cool aspen paintings and like large aspen. One of them might have been about this big, but there are definitely bigger ones canvas size. But super bright colors, palette knife, slapping on the paint. It was just really, really cool. So I recommend if you're an artist or creative person, it's really helpful for your own creativity to be looking at other people's art, and if you're not like a painter or an artist, like listening to other people's music or, studying other forms of choreography or whatever, like fill your creative bank account with stuff so that you can actually have information to push out there in your own work. Super, super important and super inspiring. I mean, I come home from something like that and I'm just like, man, I want to paint. Which is why I love Santa Fe, New Mexico. They just have so much inspiration, so many different forms of art, types of art, different subject matter. It's really good. Good stuff. Okay, now the bottom half of this, there's a little bit of a ledge in this color. So hopefully you're able to see that curb a little bit there as it goes across. I think the perspective's better. This up here looks a little weird though, like these rocks are. Maybe I'll put a little shadow in there. Why not? I'll see if I like that. But I just need to bring that up a little bit. Okay. It needs a little bit of a highlight. Yellow highlight. Well, is that the right? Yeah, I need white again. Add white. I'll have to, I'm still seeing a little bit of weird perspective, but we can always tweak it. It's hard with like this type of style of painting to actually get straight lines. It's like, how do you create a straight edge without it looking too straight that it like doesn't match the style, if you know what I mean? So I try to, it's very tricky. I kind of map it out first a little bit and be like, okay, so what am I missing here? How do I fix this? How do I make it look straight without making it look too straight? Okay, so then down in here, there's like these little highlights on the pavement to kind of show that the light is hitting that spot. And same with over here. This is where I want to watch placement a little bit. Kind of like that, maybe a little bit over in here. And there. A little bit along the edge. And a little bit here. Maybe a little bit right there. And in here. Kind of making this part up because I don't really know what's happening. It's maybe not quite that bright. Okay. Now I could easily do the rest of the bottom of the canvas here, the floor, the ground, whatever. I just need to make the right color. It's like it looks more purpley. I'm gonna put this down. Ugh. Nope. I mean, it's a very pretty purple, don't get me wrong, but it's a little too, which actually, speaking of, sometimes this happens. I'll make a color and I'll be like, I kind of want to see that in a few spots, and I'll kind of pop it in somewhere as a little sparkle. Just a little something to kind of yeah, love it. Okay. Just needs a little bit. Doesn't need to be crazy. And actually I might put a little bit in here and a little bit in the shadow. Okay, I'm putting a little more than I thought, but that's okay. Actually, while we have it, I'm going to just put it down in here before I change it too much, because I can let it kind of peek through. So, you know, sometimes you gotta put down a color. Oh, that's such a pretty color. Yes. That difference there between the warm and the cool is going to be important for later. Okay, now I can get the yellow out. And we're going to add, oh, that was a perfect touch. That's what I needed. Okay, I'm afraid now because I don't know how I made that. And I may just like come up into here and be like, I do get inspired by other forms of creativity and art, which hopefully you do too. It doesn't have to be just in your medium of your sphere of what you do, but I'm reading Hunger Games right now, slowly but surely. And just like the fact that someone can come up with it, I mean, it's pretty, gruesome and awful premise, but it is just kind of an interesting, like the author had to come up with that. And it's just really inspiring, that you can create a world and create characters that are so interesting, and you want to keep reading and flipping the page and finding out what happens. It's just, and I already know what happens, but because I've watched the movie before. But it's just really, really cool and inspiring to see that someone can spend so much time on something that ends up being so cool and interesting. So again, another encouragement to seek out inspiration. Okay, I loved that little hint of purple. Just, that's what did it. Okay. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I want to go in with the whatever this color is I'm trying to make. It does have a purpley hue to it, so I'm going to go kind of back to what I made before, but it needs to be more grayed down, so more yellow, and it's lighter. So let's see if this is any better. Oh, actually, It's a little too cool. The red. More red. More white. Oh, I think we have it, people. I have to put it up in here a little bit too. Looks a little, I guess it's okay. Our background is so warm that even with something cooler and lighter on top, it's going to be fine, I think. So I want to just put this down, keeping some of my purple showing through that I so excitedly put down. I need to finish off the shadows here that are continuing this way, but I'll start by putting this down. Of course, I'm out of paint because I am such a stickler with my paint. I don't like to have any wasted, so I make hardly any. I have to always remake it. I guess it's good practice for color mixing. But here we go again. Let's try this. Okay. I have to cover that orange line that I had down there. Don't need it. Don't want it. It's okay if parts of it show, but I just don't want it to look like there's this underlying orange line just like going across the canvas. Trying to make my paint go longer. It's not working. But it's okay. It doesn't need to be covered perfectly down there. We can kind of Okay, now another thing that's going to really make this pavement, we're getting close here, make the pavement look like a sidewalk is putting these little lines. So we're going to go in with a little bit of purple, blue, red, green, orange. Just kidding. Purple, blue, and red is what I have. And we're going to stick it right here. There's a little crack in the Did I get the right angle? Stuff like this that you can really mess it up. And this one is like here. Okay, so you can kind of see, soften it a little bit. See the crack in the sidewalk. And then we want the same thing, maybe a little bit lighter. And this is where it's important for perspective, which is tricky. So I want to get one that's going this way. I think. I always make it less dramatic than it needs to be. I think that's okay. I think we got it. Can always fix it later. This same thing, see how angled that is there? Actually, I don't know if it should be more angles as it goes this way. I mean, granted, the sidewalk from this picture is not a perfect sidewalk. It's all kind of rippled from roots and things. But I don't want it to look like I did it wrong. Lightening that because it makes sense too. This needs to be a little more dramatic going back this way. Kind of like that. Let's add that shadow. It's driving me nuts because it's not in there. It's really hard to get the right color. I don't know if this is right. And I'm out of yellow already, but I think we got the right color. Okay, so I need to kind of lay on my stomach for a second and see if I can get this angle correctly. Sometimes painting on the floor is fun, so that's what you gotta do. If you're gonna get a painting done, you gotta have some fun with it. You might be like, well, isn't it always fun? No, it's not. Let me tell you right now. Sometimes I really don't want to paint. And, I shouldn't complain because lots of people have to do other things they don't want to do. But sometimes you have to force yourself to be creative because a lot of times all we want to do is sit in front of the TV or sleep. And, it's hard to fight that. And actually, one of my favorite books to read as an artist is The War of Art. And the reason for that is because it's talking about, in the book, I can't remember the author's name, but you can look it up. He talks about the fighting resistance. And if you, sorry, can't paint and talk at the same time. When you have something you need to do or want to do, but you have that urge of like, I don't really want to do it right now. That is a feeling of resistance. Or, I've got better things to do. I've got other things I should do. Feeling of resistance. And he uses a capital R to represent resistance as if it's like a character in your story. And you have to fight it. You have to beat it down. You have to not let it take over. When you want to do something or you need to do something, you just do it. You sit down and you do it. And it's always easier said than done. But honestly, that's what you have to do. You have to sit down on your butt and do it. And in the process of doing it, I found you actually, enjoy it again. You're like, oh, I'm so glad that I made myself sit down to do this. So if you're interested in a book that can kind of get you excited about your creativity again, I highly recommend The War of Art. I want to say Stephen Pressfield. Is that right? I don't know. Look up the author. I don't remember. The War of Art. It's a good one. I should read it again. I don't know like how dark this gets as it goes off this way. And I still don't know if I have the right angle. It's not horrible. I think there's a little bit of weirdness with the angle, but I think it's okay. Could be worse. Oops. A little too much blue there, but the other thing about acrylic is you can just like use your finger to wipe it away. Oil, you kind of want to avoid that if possible because you don't really want that on your skin, especially oils because your body just soaks up oils. Yeah, that little bit of, a little bit of that light or that blue is perfect. That's what we need right in there. And actually, maybe that's what I'll put here to kind of transition that off the canvas. Kind of like that. And some of that texture and coloring needs a little work, but I'm pretty happy with it actually so far. It's a little sloppy down here, but I think once I put it on an easel to just kind of refine some of that, I think it'll be okay. It'll be okay to say that sometimes. Okay. I think what I want to do is put in am I comfortable with that color? It's really white, but I think it's going to be okay. We want to put in a little bit more highlight into these rocks. I may end up dulling that down later, but right now it seems like the right thing to do. Feels like it's going to help make those rocks that are getting the light really pop forward a little bit more, and it helps the sidewalk kind of recede a little bit more. You know, sometimes doing something like that can just affect a lot of things at once. And it's maybe a little bright, but I can glaze over some white on top, or sorry, yellow on top later. Okay, well, think I'm pretty happy with that. It is 9:33. I better stop there. But I'll give you a sneak peek of the whole thing again so you can kind of see how it's coming along. So there's there's the top. I may actually also take you off of here for a second, and I'll just bring you closer so that you can actually see some of the texture in here. Obviously there's spots that are not done, but you can get a feel for what it's looking like up in the trees. And then as that comes down this way, and it gets to the trees farther off in the distance, and the change in colors of green, and then you get the house back in there, or in this case it was a gallery, but stucco building, and then that difference with the green leaves on the vines going up the tree, which is really what I loved about this picture, was all the vines on the tree. And I love putting in sky spaces. One of my favorite things to do. So that's really fun. I usually do that after I've done the green. So you can see how the sky like overlaps some of the green. Love it. You can see the orange still showing through, where from a distance you probably wouldn't have seen that. And yep, again, I had so much fun with the highlights on the vines. And then of course what we did today was the sidewalk going off into the distance with the little curb that's a little bit yellowy painted but fading, with the little creases, with the shadow going over the curb and onto that garden wall. That's the name of the show. Over the stone wall there. As that goes off into the distance, I'll need to put a little bit of shading around because the bush was there first, but I put the rocks in around it and it looks a little bit like it's plastered on there. So I need to put a little more shading around that. But there you have it, folks. That is put you back up here. That is the painting so far. And I've made a lot more progress on it recently than I thought I would. So it's been fun. But I will stop there. Thank you guys for watching and tuning in and watching my progress on this painting and other paintings if you've watched my live streams. A reminder, and actually I think I have a post coming up, maybe it was today or tomorrow, announcing the date and the time of my 50-second live stream, which means that I've done a live stream for a whole year, every week for a year, which is huge. Like, it feels like yesterday that I started doing this, but I've kept it up all year long, did a live stream every week this year. And so we're going to celebrate. I'm going to do some art that I'll give away, and possibly a copy or two of a book that I've read recently that I've really loved, that is great for creative people and creatives, sorry. And we're all creative people. So that will be, when did I set it? Hold on, I can tell you right now. I think it's November 6th, a Friday night at 7. Yep, November 6th at 7. Yeah, I didn't put the time correctly in here, but I think I put 7 p.m. Because we might go longer than just an hour. So put it on your calendars because I want to see you guys there. I want to see, yeah. See, I guess I don't see you there. You see me there, but hopefully you can tune in and say hi, and we can celebrate together. 52 live streams in a row, and we're not going to break that streak. We're going to keep going. So thanks guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.